What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 5 of the PPL League where I am up against Baby Eric, coach of the Seattle Onix. So if you guys are excited, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. We're currently 2-2, and if I can snag that win, that would be absolutely fantastic, because that will put us in a really strong position in 3-2, and then we can go on from there. If we lose, then unfortunately we're going to be in a slightly harder position, being 2-3, having to get a few more wins to try and get back up there. So this is quite an important week to try and see if we can get back, get a positive differential in terms of games. Okay, so as always, what we're going to do is we're going to run through what he could be bringing, what we're going to be bringing to answer to him, and then finally go into the match from there. So he has got the Weavile, Landorus T, Mega Alakazam, and Raikou as his main sort of offense, I would say, and they are all very, very spooky. I really struggle with fast electric types, but I've got ways to be able to sort of bulk them out, but I don't really have any really reliable switch-ins, which can be a little bit annoying, but I'll try and, play around it each week and see how we go from there. Mega Alakazam is very, very spooky, being able to outspeed most of my team, outside of my Scarfers and stuff like that, and doing some really, really nice damage. Landorus being, able to be Swords Dance with Rocky MZ to break through things like my Skarmory, or Rock Polish, or even Double Dance. On top of that, it can have Supersonic Sky Strike to be able to take on my Shaman. And then on top of that, you've got Weavile as well, which puts a lot of pressure on offense, outspeeds my entire team, which is never really fun, but thankfully I've got a good amount of priority that might be able to handle it from there, but still it's an absolutely massive threat to my team. Then from there, he's got the Dhelmise, Cobalion, Tentacle, Diancie, Ditto, and Ordino. I'm kind of expecting the Ditto when I was sort of building the team, just because it gives him a way to be able to check the Mega Pinsir, and just, things like my Nihilego potentially. If I'm weakened and start getting a few Beast Boosts, he can go in on that, take a hit and then attack me back from there and potentially kill me and reverse sweep me. So I've just got to be careful of those cheeky reverse sweeps. Diancie could potentially come to be a way to check Mega Pinsir, though I'm expecting like an offense. I'm expecting Raikou to come. Raikou is 100% coming. Sort of was in my mindset. I'm getting the whole tense thing mixed up, but in my mindset, Raikou was 100% coming, and most likely the Weavile and the Landorus T. So I made sure I had ways to be able to take on Weavile and Landorus, and also some ways to be able to check the Raikou from there. So what we're going to do now is run through my team after I've got my tenses really randomly mixed up. But anyway, we have got the Shaman, which I looked at this team, and this is one of my favourite moments, when you realise you've got a spec set or a choice band set or something like that outspeeds a good proportion of the team, and every time it's in, it most likely gets a kill. Because you look at it, Weavile, Landorus T, Mega Alakazam, Raikou all get destroyed by it. Cobalion, even then it gets 2-KO'd by a Spec Shaman, which is crazy, and I can tank a close combat pretty well because of my natural bulk. Diancie, obviously, it's a free switch every time that's in. Ditto might be one of his switches, but then on the other hand, if I can predict that, go for the Air Slash, I should be doing a really nice amount of damage to him. And then finally, Ordino, which I'm not 100% sure, maybe if it was fully Spadef might be able to take on, but the thing is, with the Seed Flare, I can get those Spadef drops, which is really, really nice. So realistically, his Dhelmise is his best switch that, and after, if I can wear down that Dhelmise, because obviously it doesn't get any recovery, I can just start clicking Seed Flare every time I come in. I can actually tank hits from most of his teams, so he's going to have to try and decide for some things, whether to get some damage on my Shaman and die, or switch out and let something else die instead. Then we got the Skarmory. I'm starting in general to lean against bringing Wolves, just because it doesn't really. It kind of fits my playstyle, but I kind of had to bring it this week just because it allowed me to beat the Weavile and the Landorus T. Though, to be honest, with the advent of Z moves, even that's not guaranteed, but considering a +2 Landorus T's Continental Crush, that's a Z Stone Edge, still does like 85% max or something absolutely insane like that. So even then, Skarmory's not a given wall versus them, but it gives me a chance to get my rocks up. I can whirlwind things out, just generally be bulky. I can switch into quite a few things like the Dhelmise, switch into the Diancie, Ordino, and just in general just be a little bit annoying and start whirlwinding things out. If I can get those rocks up to stay, then that means the Weavile is going to be really crippled, and that's going to be very nice for us. Next, we got the Delphox, and I came to the realization that he didn't really have a switch into the combination of Fire and Psychic Stab. Because obviously Weavile bot by fire, Lando hits hard by fire, Mega Alakazam hit hard by fire, Raikou by fire, obviously Dhelmise, Cobalion get hit by fire, Tentacle by psychic, and then I've got the Hidden Power Steel for the Diancie, and then we've got, obviously Ditto would probably be his best bet, but you know, you'll still be taking quite a decent amount of damage, and then the Ordino as well. So the Charcoal just gives my fire an extra boost, because that's what I'm going to be spamming. I've got the Flame Charge there, so if I can come in on something weakened, get the Flame Charge off, I'm going to be outspeeding his entire team, which would be really nice. Most likely even his Scarfer as well, if his Scarf is something like a Landorus T. I don't really see Raikou being Scarf, as I said, because I don't think he's going to be want to lock himself into a Thunderbolt if I decided to bring, you know, my Raichu or my Doggo from there. So, you know, it's a slightly interesting set, but, you know, it had potential. And then next we got the Nihilego with the Choice Scarf. So this is great because this allows me to spam things like Sludge Wave and Power Gem. Once I get rid of the Cobalion, I've got plenty of switches into it, lots of ways to be able to take it on 1v1. So if I can just wear it down, that's pretty nice. And if he's in versus Weavile, every time Weavile's in, I can switch this in as long as I'm not too weakened. Go for that absolutely beautiful Him Power Fighting. If he wants to then go into Cobalion, he's still going to be taking a crazy amount of damage from that. So that's pretty sweet from there, but I need to keep him guessing about what Him Power will be, because otherwise things like Delmice could come in, and then Landorus T and stuff like that. But, you know, it just gives a nice little little surprise from there. Next up, we got Vaporeon. So I looked at like a defensive Vaporeon, and it kind of went okay, but it, you know, I didn't think it was gonna do a huge amount, just because he's got quite a few different schooled switch-ins and handles to that, and, you know, Tentacle doesn't really care about that. So we got a slightly memeier set that's designed a little bit like Shaman, where it's meant to be bulky, take a few hits, but also deal a good amount of damage out itself. So we've got the Hydro Pump there to be able to hit things just in general pretty hard. Him Power Fighting to Oko the Weavile. Synchronoise, which is a fun little beam to be able to do about 70%, I think, to a physically defensive Tentacruel, which is pretty nice damage. And then the Shadow Ball there to be able to take on Delmice, Mega Alakazam, and just sort of spam it in general, because I don't expect him to then switch the Weavile into me. And then, looking at the team, originally I had Scarf Doggo here, just because it was pretty good in terms of cleanup, but I was looking at the calcs and it really wasn't hitting as hard as I really wanted to. And he had Delmice that could switch in, and without the Choice Band, it just really was underwhelming, I would say. Especially when E-Speed was doing like 50% to Weavile and things like that. In general, it just didn't look particularly great. So I also realized that actually I was pretty weak to SD Weavile. If, you know, if Traffic Bird went down, then a Swords Dance Weavile kind of cleans up. So I wanted one way to be able to guarantee that I could handle that. Also a Calm Mind Raikou if it wasn't behind the sub. And I'd settled on my Hitmonlee set. This is my favourite set. I don't try not to bring it too often because it gets a bit obvious then. But you know, if he's got a +2 Weavile in, and I come in with Hitmonlee and, you know, he can out-prioritize, he'll be mad to switch out just because he kind of thinks that might be the set that I'm bringing. So that's kind of my mentality on this. Same as well with Raikou. If Raikou looks like it's going to clean up, then I don't see it switching out just because I bring in a Hitmonlee. So we got the Endure there, which brings us down to 1 HP once we take damage. Minimum in all our defenses to make sure we get down there. Then the Leech Berry pops, giving us +1 attack. We get our Burden Boost, and then we can start spamming Mach Punches to be able to out-prioritize the Weavile, and then we've got Reversal on there, which just absolutely smacks things. What we need to do, though, is we need to weaken the Delmice and kill the Landorus T, most likely, before we can start sweeping with Hitmonlee. But with my team matchup, you know, in terms of what I had in terms of prep for the rest of them, you know, it was looking pretty likely I was going to be able to wear those two down to let Hitmonlee clean up late game. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the battle, and you can see exactly what went on from there. Okay, so we are at the battle, and as you can see, he has decided to bring the Weavile and Landorus T, which is very scary. Raikou is also there as expected to be able to most likely be here to check the Mega Pinsir. Mega Alakazam also is a very, very scary offensive core there, backed by a more bulky core with the Diancie, which is obviously going to be his rocker. And then you've got the Delmice there. So it kind of tells me that the Landorus is going to be most likely offensive, as I was expecting. Either sort of, as I said, Flynium Z, Rockium Z, most likely. And, you know, I need to just basically get my rocks up if I can, because that's going to help me wear down the Raikou, the Weavile, and a few other things. And just put pressure on that Delmice and try and then sweep maybe with Hitmonlee later on. So, as I said before, Shaman can actually take a hit from pretty much anything outside of Weavile. If he decides to leave Weavile, I can always go into Scarm, you know, and play a little bit off the back foot, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I have a great matchup against pretty much everything, especially if he wants to lead up with that Diancie to get the rocks up. So what I'm going to do is I am going to lead off with the Serperius. Let's jump in, and we will see what happens from there. So, as I said, Shaman's got a pretty good lead matchup, so I'm pretty confident that was going to be the way to go. To be honest, regardless, before I even saw the matchup there, as he is going to lead off with Spoon, which is going to be his Mega Alakazam. That's fine by me. I just want to get some damage off on this Mega Alakazam. I've got a pretty good chance. I think it was like 60% chance to kill if it didn't have HP investment, though. And I'm expecting him to most likely be modest rather than have HP investment. So he does decide to stay in, which is pretty interesting. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get smacked by something hard, but then at least I'm going to be able to smack him back from there. So he does trace our Natural Cure, that's fine by us. We're just clicking that Seed Flare as he's going to pull up a sub. And I was like, please, whatever you do, Shaman, do not miss this hit, because I really need to be able to get this Alakazam sub out of the way. So we hit the Seed Flare, Shaman's an absolute beast, and that is going to be great. And now he's guaranteed within range. So he can do, you know, he can do a little bit of damage to us if he wants to, but we're going to guarantee get a kill. And this is why I love Shaman being in this position, where I can just get a kill and he's going to either do that or switch out. So he switches out into his Delmise. I'm going to throw out a Seed Flare here, and I must admit, deep down, I was kind of hoping for the drop, because that would make my life easier and not have to then switch out. We do a good amount, not AV by the looks of things, and we get the drop. So that's going to be fantastic. We're going to be able to go for another Seed Flare and take out this Delmise. So we're now sitting with a max HP Shaman again. As I said, it's great being at that amount of HP, because that means I can take a hit from pretty much anything, and we can always switch out if he wants to revenge. So he decides to go out into Weavile, Shiny Weavile, which looks very, very ugly in my opinion. I'm just going to go into Scar and play it safe. I've got, you know, this Shaman in the back is looking pretty good. If he wants to pull a double, which he does do, that's fine by me. I'll just play around it. So he does double into Raikou. That's absolutely fine by me, as he is going to put that pressure on, which is not going to be particularly fun, as we're going to go into Scarm. So I had to think about it. I was like, I can guarantee get my rocks up. I've got that sturdy. Is it worth it, or am I going to switch out? I don't want to get any damage off on my Shaman, so I'm going to go into my Nihilego. I got really great Spadef on that guy. I can scout, see what sort of set he is. If he wants to pull up a sub, I can just break that and try and handle it from there. He throws out a Volt Switch, and let's see how much damage that does. Does a pretty decent chunk, like 35%, I would say, and he shows to be Life Orb. So at least I can wear him down. Want to get those rocks up though when I can, as he's going to now go out into his Diancie. Now this is very interesting on, in my opinion, because now what I can do is I can go back into Shaman, and while he does get his rocks up, now something else has to die, because he has no switch now into my Shaman, so I can just throw out a Seed Flare here, guarantee kill the Diancie, and pretty much anything else on his team. I think Landorus might be able to live depending on its spread. If it's got a 0 HP, I think I've got a pretty good chance of killing. So he does end up switching out, which was interesting, because that means now if the Diancie comes out another time, I can just, you know, go back into Shaman and throw another massive hit out. And being able to get some damage on this is going to be huge, especially with respect to my Hitmonlee. So I calced it, he's max HP. I don't expect him to be max speed Scarf, max HP. So I'm just going to throw another Seed Flare out, take out the Landorus, which is going to be absolutely huge. So we're looking in a really, really nice position in terms of our, Hitmonlee. But also on top of that, we can now start spamming things like Sludge Bomb on our Nihilego to clean up. So we've got, you know, quite a few different cleanup options, which is pretty nice. And we still got Delphox in the back as well. So I'm just going to go into my Trash Burb, as we're going to see what he decides to do. He does decide to go for Icicle Crash for damage. That's fair enough. That was guaranteed to kill. I think I may have had a slight chance to live, but it wasn't looking particularly great. So we do take a lot from that, as he's going to lose some of his HP. And I expect him most likely to be Adamant, just because he can then outspeed the Doggo with Ice Shard anyway. So he's going to be hitting really hard. He goes for a very good play here. He goes to the Swords Dancers. I'm going to go for my Rocks, expecting him to switch out here, predicting an Iron Head or something like that. And I'm going to get my Rocks up. So it was nice to get Rocks up, but on the other hand, it's going to make this particularly scary, because now this Weavile is most likely going to be able to kill me with a knockoff. And this is why I'm not a big fan of Wolves. Like, especially against opponents with lots of setup, they just end up being a little bit of setup fodder. But that's just my opinion. I'd rather offensively check things a lot of the time. So anyway, we're going to die now, but we've got the Hitmonlee in the back, so that makes me very happy. And this is the situation I was talking about in my team builder, where if we, you know, he's set up with his Weavile, he's going to want to stay in. He knows he can out-prioritize me, he can calc it, he can kill. So I'm just going to go for the Endure here, as he's most likely going to go for an Ice Shard. If he wants to switch out, that's fine. I've still got lots of ways in the back to be able to win this game, and at least then I've scared out this Weavile. But he goes to the Ice Shard there, and we're going to be able to take that on the chin and live on 1 HP, which is fantastic. Our Berry is then going to pop after this Life Orb. which is great. So that's going to bring us up to +2 speed. So we're going to be able to outspeed his entire team. Landorus is out the way and Delmise is out the way, which is great. Just throw a cheeky map punch out there, take him out, which is great, as I said. But because of our speed, we now out-prioritize him. And now we're in a really, really great position. So
everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they fought with expert timing. There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up. They were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part.
So that's absolutely fantastic, and we're going to finish on from there. So in total, we had 2 kills from the Shaman, 4 kills from Hitmonlee, which is brilliant. Skarmory obviously went down, and from there, and that finishes us up with a 5-0, definitely with Hitmonlee as the MVP. So if you guys enjoyed the battle, don't forget to leave a like down below. I would really appreciate it. Next week's going to be slightly different because we are up against Mono, and because I'm out in Japan, Rufus is actually going to be playing the game for me. So fingers crossed, if we can get another win, we're going to be in a fantastic position. We're on a 3-win streak, so that's pretty nice, and hopefully we can extend that to 4, and then, you know, maybe even 5 when I get back. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Macadii out.